Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another video. Today I'm talking about Delta Force and their latest playtest that is currently available. In this video, I'm going to briefly touch on the campaign and Havoc Warfare, and then overall talk about the Tactical Turmoil Extractor game mode. This video is sponsored by Timmy Studios, and thank you for sponsoring this video. So, without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So starting off, I actually got an opportunity to play this game back in TwitchCon EU, where I went over there and I got a good opportunity to speak to the devs and play the game for a few hours over there. Unfortunately, my previous video, I wasn't able to show any of that gameplay footage, but now that it's all public and everyone's playing it, we can delve deeper into all the stuff that is available with this game. So to break it down, Delta Force is an old school game that they've actually brought back to life with a new version of it. Pretty much the way it works is there are three versions or three parts to this game. Starting off with the actual campaign. It is pretty much Black Hawk Down. They bought the IP rights to Black Hawk Down, and you'll be actually able to play the game / movie of Black Hawk Down. And they've got the cinematics from the movie. It's going to be really cool, in depth, and actually I'm really excited for it. It's on the Unreal 5 engine. I think it's going to be really intense gameplay footage from what I've experienced already in the Havoc Warfare mode. Next up, the Havoc Warfare mode is pretty much like your typical 32v32 or 64v64 chaos, vehicles, air, everything. And it is a lot more fun than I originally thought it was going to be. I'm pretty much not the kind of person that plays a lot of Battlefield games or anything like that. And I have dabbled in the past and I have enjoyed them. But getting my hands into this was actually a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It is a lot more intense. I tried to get to play on some of the vehicles and all that. It was pretty chaotic. All the stuff where you are able to pick out your operator and the class that you want to go is available in the Havoc Warfare. And from my experience, it's really cool. As you get to kill stuff, you can call in more vehicles or airstrikes based off your score. And it is a very immersive game mode. Now, for the most of you guys, you just want to hear my opinion on the actual extractor shooter, so we'll dive into that. The Tactical Turmoil has a gameplay loop very similar to the previous games that you've seen me play, from Escape from Tarkov, Arena Breakout Infinite, Marauders and all that. You go into a game and you explore the map. Whilst you're exploring the map, you're looting stuff, you're killing AI and real life players in order to get out with the fat loot, and that is pretty much it. The cool parts of the actual gameplay loop itself is you actually have an actual hideout to upgrade. It's called a black site. As you upgrade that, you'll have access to more opportunities. For example, your stash size will become bigger. You'll be able to, make or buy better items, and it kind of just gives you that little bit of an advantage over people that don't do it. All right, so let's talk about the hideout or the black site in more detail. One of the things I really enjoy about this game is the stash and the quality of stuff, the quality of life parts of the stash. So for example, if you have a stash with lots of lines in it, it can get very overwhelming, and the auto sort function can work really well for you. But what they've done in this game, which I absolutely love, and I've wanted to see in all the extractor shooter games, is the fact that you've got stash tabs. So you can buy an ammo crate, put it as that stash tab, and then when you click the sort button, all ammunition will go into that position. So it is really good how they've thought of that kind of stuff. It speeds up putting loadouts on, and it just means that you can have a lot more simpler, less time in the menu and more time actually playing, which I love. Now, there's all the things you would typically expect. You have traders that you level up by doing missions, and then you also have the ability to buy and sell stuff via an auction house and then make more money that way. As for the graphics and frame rate, I have heard of some people having small issues with the game crashing on launch. I believe that's probably something to do with Intel chips right now. I had issues in previous games with the game crashing on launch from overvolting. But overall speaking, my game runs pretty flawlessly. I'm sitting on over 200 FPS nearly at all times, and I have it on the maximum graphics. And I'm sure if I was to dial that down, I would be able to sit on even higher when it comes to frame rate. Now, the graphics are actually really polished and immersive, which is exactly what you want when it comes to one of these kind of games where you're trying to actually fight other players and you want it to be crystal smooth. So when you're engaging people, you actually are getting clean shots off. Now, when it comes to the in-game event and the immersion. So when you're on a map, you have all these different things you can do, and there's missions and all that kind of stuff. And there'll be different things that will happen that will drive people in to be able to actually fight each other. So for example, on the beginner map, there's a lever that you pull and it opens up one of the extracts right next to the major loot area. So as that happens, it draws you into that area. So then you can try and stop people from extracting, but also it just gives an alert that you know where some players are. Now, there are lots of missions from within the map. So for example, you can open up safes or, clear a high value target within an area. And as these things are happening, it entices people to do a lot of fighting, which gives away their position, which draws in more PvP. Now, when you first start playing the game, you'll start noticing that there are bots within the lobby. This is an adaptive system to help people that are starting out figure out how to learn the game and play the game. And it's an adaptive system. So they'll start playing with more and more players online as they start leveling up. I started running into a lot more players around level 7. I've heard from some people that if you die a fair bit, you will actually go up against bots again, just to give you like a little chance to get back into it. But yeah, particularly once you get up to the higher levels, the ranks and all that stuff, you will never see any more bots. This is purely designed to keep the lobbies feeling fun and more full and help you out in the earlier on getting progress in the game as you're starting out. Now, if you do go past the first map, part of the actual maps itself, there's lots of different types of extractions. There's some that you're required to pay to get out. There's others, which is like a train. And I got to use this one in Europe, but haven't been able to do it on the second map yet. But you can actually pay for a train, or you can open up a train, extract it. It has a cooldown timer, and then the train leaves the map. And it's smack bang in the middle of the map, so people can see it, and you can actually get ran over by it as well. Now, if you're a gun nut, this game has got the guns for you. There is plenty of guns to pick from, and then on top of that, a heap of attachments to go through. Once you actually build your gun, you can actually fine-tune it using their little fine-tuning scale thing, where you can make it faster ADS compared to like more stable as you're shooting, and it's really in-depth how the system works. Not only that, it's very user-friendly. To be able to do the modding, it's very simple. You don't have to know a lot about guns or how they are modded. You can just slap on pistol grips and you just buy them straight off the gunsmith itself. As for the character animations and movement, I feel like the running of the actual, like watching someone run kind of looks a little bit comical, but it feels very smooth and you don't feel janky as you're moving about, and it just feels natural. One of the things I would definitely point out about this game is when you jump into it, whilst it's very difficult because there's a lot of things you have to learn, it's still very easy to just adapt to the new things. Like, oh, okay, I've spawned in. What do I do? Oh, press M. There's the map. That's where the extract is. Head over there. You're not trying to like look at YouTube guides on how to like survive a raid or anything like that. You just get in there and start shooting at stuff, and you can figure it out fairly quickly. Now, we've had it confirmed in interviews and on Reddit by the lead dev Shadow, saying that the game will never feature any pay-to-win mechanics, with the monetization structure purely being focused on skins and battle passes. And this is a massive win because no one wants any pay-to-win in this game. I already have unlocked one of the MP5 skins. It's like a teal blue, but there is going to be skins. And I saw in Europe a heap of the skins, and I think you might be able to see it in the playtest somewhere in the gunsmith. But yeah, there is some cool looking skins and they look very polished. So that is going to be their monetization structure. It's going to be free to play. And so then you won't be getting any pay to win functions in this game. All right, let's talk about some of the good things and things I'd like to see improved. First up, I really like how you can just play this game and you don't really need to think about what you have to do. It's very intuitive. Just get in there and have some fun. The quality of life features, particularly with the stash, is insane. You can actually just go and pick out, like set your containers up. So you got ammo containers and all that. Click that sort button, bam, all that gets sorted straight away into the right containers. So then you can put loadouts on and get into a game faster. When you're in a game, you have lots of options and opportunity to actually explore and go different ways. You're not just, you have to go a certain direction. There's plenty of freedom around the map to actually move around, do flanks and avoid combat if you really want to. The skill system or the operator system, for me, initially I thought it was actually going to be pretty janky, and I'm actually really liking it. The fact that if you go the medic, you never really have to take in any heals besides like surgical kits and that to stop bleeds and breaks. So you can just heal yourself pretty much for free. Now there's other operators that have really cool tools as well, like Terry Musa. You can set sonic traps to cover your back or guard objectives. The other options of having like the ability to like scan enemies and stuff like that. It makes it so people move. If you know someone's in an area, you're not gonna have someone just camping a corner because you have skills to make them move around. Actually works out really cool. Initially I was a bit like iffy about it and I thought maybe I won't like it, but yeah, definitely do like that. And that also adds into the point that where for me this game is trying to make its own fresh take on the genre instead of it just being, you know, like a carbon copy of another game. It's not too unrealistic like, hey, we're, you know, playing Marauders from space or Cycle Frontier where it's like in a foreign world. It's still got a lot of the mil sim aspects to it, but it's got its own take on it. So it actually keeps it nice and fresh. It actually, to me, feels a lot like what DMZ should have been, or the approach Call of Duty should have made towards DMZ. And so I really like that. it actually is really good. Now, things that like will probably make it harder for me to play this game or make it so it's less enjoyable for me personally to play this game. I'm not the biggest fan of playing in trios. I don't have any friends. I'm a complete loner. And so I don't always have 3 people or 2 other people to play with. So what that means is I have to do squad fill, and then I'm playing with 2 randoms. And if they're completely pathetic and I'm going in really geared, I'm going to lose my good gear because it's really hard to take on 3-man squads over and over again. So I explained it like this. If you're a solo player and you're very good at the game, you can go in solo and you can win a 1v3 fight. But the problem is you have to win all 1v3 fights. So you might end up running against 3 or 4 different squads. And if even one of those squads are competent, they're nearly always going to kill you. So you can play this game completely solo, going in raids and maps completely solo and taking on the other teams. However, you are running the risk that you're going to probably lose a lot of your kit. So if you're doing cheap money runs, it works. You can get in, loot some stuff and get out. That works fine. But if you actually want to be like competitive, that is probably going to be my biggest grief about this game. And I would like to see some sort of option to be more supportive towards solo players or people that don't want to go squad fill. Now, one good thing that does come from that is the fact that you can actually join Discords and find people to play with. I even was playing just off stream last night, ran into a couple of Americans, and they were really lovely, and I played a couple of games with them. So the other thing is a lot of people are going on like, why am I only playing against bots? I think they need to make it very clear that in the first few games, you will only play against bots, because that's the number one complaint you see on Twitter is like, oh, I'm only playing against bots. Where are the real players? You just have to get a little bit of aggression. So that funnel of information, easy to fix, but yeah, it's like just little things that need to get picked up. And I think there'll be a lot more flow of people wanting to play this game. I actually think it's going to be really well received once people get their mitts into it. Now, can I see myself playing it more? Most certainly. I'm actually keen to play some more games with Red Ops tonight, and there's not going to be a sponsored stream. I'm just keen to dive in there and learn more about the game. There are a lot of things that have a great potential in this game, and they've definitely looked at previous extractor shooters and gone, how can we do that better? And they've done it better in a lot of ways. So that's really cool to see. And in my opinion, it's a way better game than Arena Breakout for the fact that you can actually, it's got its own body and soul to it. It's not like too similar to other games that we've played. Having those different operators, while some people won't like, I think a lot of people will like. You'll have your favorites and you'll be able to work with your teammates to do it. Kind of like how the Apex Legends systems work, or, you know, in like a Battlefield game, you pick like the medic or the assault guy and support guy. So I think for me, that is a cool twist. And I think with the fact that it's free to play, a lot more people will have access to it and want to play it. And I think it's going to go really well. So guys, that is it for this video. Hopefully you liked it. Thank you so much to Timmy Studios for sponsoring this video and my streams. It's been a lot of fun checking out this game and getting involved in it. I'm excited to play a bit more in the future. And if you want to check it out, make sure you go down to the link below, add it to your wish list on Steam. And hopefully you'll get time to check it out. I'll be also doing more drop streams in the future. So make sure you like and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Let me know of your thoughts about the game. And lastly, guys, I'll see you next time.